Why is there a representative democracy? Governments often need to make decisions and take actions that have a significant impact. These decisions and actions can either benefit or harm society as a whole. We wish for decision makers to truly comprehend their actions. Why should the people make these impactful decisions when we know they can affect society so greatly? Why do we believe that ordinary citizens can make the right choices? This question is central to Plato's critique of democracy. The essence of Plato's opposition to democracy lies in the idea that ordinary individuals are usually ignorant of societal matters and naturally lean towards policies that serve their own interests. Plato believed democracy would fail, even if it could prevent the public from being misled by bad actors. It could still turn society into ruins. Rousseau argued that to face this challenge, we must foster patriotism in citizens from a young age, enhance awareness to reduce inequality, and restrict freedoms to prevent disputes. However, in our interconnected and diverse society, can these measures actually be effective? Even if they can, is the price paid for personal freedom really worth it? In modern democratic countries, the role of the people is much more limited compared to what Rousseau envisioned for the citizen assembly. Citizens vote on specific policies through representatives who make complex decisions for them. If you grow up in America, you will learn in school that the United States is not actually a democracy, but a republic, as its laws are made by elected representatives. This is a wrong binary. Many countries are called democratic republics, showing no clear conflict between democracy and republics, but we may still wonder, can this representative democracy be seen as real democracy? Rousseau believed that in practice, total voting by the people was not as good as his idea of an elected aristocracy. The officials executing the people's decisions in the elected aristocracy are selected for their intelligence and virtue. Rousseau claimed you would never want just any group of citizens to enforce traffic laws, taxes, firefighting, or bridge construction. That would lead to disaster. Instead, professionals must have relevant skills and knowledge, and be responsible for their work. But this raises a question. If ordinary citizens can't manage government policies, why do we think they can choose good policies? The harm from incompetent laws may exceed that from incompetent governments. John Stuart Mill believes the only workable democratic government today is representative democracy. Society is too large for direct democracy to work. Mill, like Plato, worries if ordinary citizens can make wise decisions. In the best case, these decisions are just inexperienced judgments about experienced ones. Ignorance judging knowledge, and ignorance often doesn't know what it doesn't know. Mill is a key figure in public ethics theory among philosophers. Public ethics believes that the best actions should create the greatest benefit for society. Public ethics underpins Mill's defense of democracy. He believes democracy is the best for society. Legislators with knowledge and experience can create better policies than ignorant citizens who might have bad motives. Therefore, from a public ethics perspective, from this viewpoint, representative democracy seems to be a better choice than direct democracy. So, why does Mill advocate for democracy? If representative democracy is derived from direct democracy, then it is governed by kind experts. Wouldn't that be better? The answer lies in Mill's perspective on the positive impact of democracy and democratic citizenship. He believes that in non-democratic societies, citizens often become passive observers of their own lives, rather than active participants. Not only does being passive make one more vulnerable to oppression, but personal autonomy is also a crucial factor in our happiness. In democracies, there are several systems that support individual autonomy. Mill also points out that evidence shows democratic nations provide more benefits to society than non-democratic ones. He compares the situations of free nations during their freedom with those of subjects in modern monarchies or oligarchies, such as the Greek city-states and Persian castles, the Italian republics, and the free towns of Flanders and Germany, as well as the feudal monarchies of Europe. Their prosperity is clearly superior, a fact that has never been disputed. This prosperity reflects the advantages of good governance and social relations, evident throughout history. Miller supports representative democracy for its real-world benefits, not just abstract ideas of power and equality. But this raises a question. What if a poor candidate wins? What if a bad candidate wins? Isn't representative democracy easily manipulated like direct democracy? Bad representatives will hurt democracy. How can we ensure representatives serve the public? Miller has some ideas. He suggests several ideas, some familiar today. He wants to limit campaign spending to stop vote buying and thinks representatives should not be paid. He suggests some controversial measures. First, he is against secret ballots, arguing that public voting would shame individuals and prevent them from voting for personal gain. This would also lower the likelihood of unscrupulous candidates catering to voters' private interests. Additionally, he supports limiting voting rights based on education and income. Those who can't read or do basic math won't be allowed to vote. Similarly, those who receive public assistance should also be prohibited from voting, as those who cannot support themselves should not have the right to demand the privilege of acquiring others' property. He disagrees with the one person, one vote principle, claiming that educated individuals should have more voting rights. Plato's challenge to democracy has caused considerable anxiety. How do we ensure that democratic laws reflect society's best interests? Rousseau tried to solve this by limiting freedom and regulating education and morality. Mill's representative democracy limits citizen involvement and voting rights to address challenges straying from democratic ideals. Yet, we must admit that the best government often diverges from ideals, just as democracy requires compromise. The philosophy of democracy may also need to compromise. What do you think about this?